Hello, my garden friends, and welcome to my Sunday morning backyard garden tour. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Liz, and I garden in California, Zone 9B. In today's video, I'm going to walk you around my cute and colorful little garden and show you what's going on. I'm also going to take you to the front of my house and show you my driveway garden where I grow lots of vegetables. I can't wait to show you these. Veggies are growing off the hook. And also in today's tip of the week, I'm going to show you what I use to fertilize and how often I fertilize my garden. A couple of you have requested that I show you what I use and how I do it. So that's what I'm going to do today. I don't normally start my garden tours in the back of my garden, but I think it's looking mighty lovely. My beautiful Super Tunia Vista bubblegum came back after a severe prune. And to the right, you see my beautiful Gara. I think it's so whimsical and charming. Behind the Super Tunia Vista bubblegum, I'm growing some blue salvia. And behind that, my yellow gilded sun rose is producing more blooms. I can't wait to show you the fertilizer I use. I really feel it made a difference in my garden this year. And of course, my beautiful zinnias and all the volunteer sunflowers that just came back all on their own. I have lots of carpenter bees in my garden, and they seem to love the sunflowers, and so do the birds. I don't deadhead them because it provides food for the yellow finches. And if you notice, I have tons of Mexican sunflowers that are also blooming. This little area I call my succulent propagation station. It's where I practice with succulents propagating, and I grow cactus. And because the lighting is so wonderful, you know, a lot of people don't know this, but succulents don't like full sun. They actually just like part of the day sun, otherwise they burn. My favorite are the string of pearls and string of pickles. Because in my opinion my garden is so small, I try to make use of all the spaces that I have. So what I did is I got 3 park benches. I painted them different colors and just stacked one bench on top of the other. So I call it my little succulent propagation station. Some birdhouses I just got at the thrift stores and yard sales. And look at my beautiful white Natchez crepe myrtle tree. This thing just is non-stop blooming. And what I love about the white Natchez, it always looks like it's snowing. This is actually a spin-off, a hybrid of the white Natchez. I guess you could call it the improved white Natchez, because normally the flowers would stay on the stems and then it would look kind of dirty having dead flowers. But the new improved white Natchez, I forget the name, the flowers fall off right when they start to die, so the tree always looks clean. But the fun part about the new improved white Natchez, like I said, it always looks like it's snowing. Below the white Natchez tree, I have some lily turf, also known as liriope, if that's how you pronounce it. I just call it lily turf, and it makes these cute little purple flowers. What I like about the lily turf is the variegated leaves. It's a really nice way to add color to your garden, even when it's not blooming. And over here is my children's fairy garden. I have a Japanese maple tree, and below that I'm growing vinca. The little stepping stones I got at the Dollar Tree are starting to fade, so I might paint those myself. And there's a cute little ice cream parlor chair that I got at the antique shop, some impatiens growing underneath. And what I did is I just got an old vintage bucket, I tipped it upside down, and then I edged the area with some river rock and then I just threw pea gravel down. So in my opinion, it looks like the wash bucket is dumping out a stream of pea gravel. Over here, I have a Dacandra Silver Falls with a not variegated lily turf. The leaves are just all solid green, with a Euphorbia Ascot Rainbow, a beautiful Carolina Jasmine that currently is not blooming right now. But if you look past the zinnias, my beautiful bougainvillea is once again in full bloom. I swear that bougainvillea, this is like the third or fourth time this year it's bloomed. I'm going to take you over there in just a minute, but look at my beautiful zinnias. I grew these all from seed. My hollyhocks are kind of flopping over. The flowers aren't as sturdy as they were in the spring, but nevertheless, I'm not going to complain that I got another flush of blooms from my magenta hollyhocks and my Tithonia Mexican sunflowers, a little closer view. Now if we walk past my Miss Figgy fig tree, this is the other side. Look at my beautiful bougainvillea. This is the second year I've had it. Can you believe how big it's gotten? Oh my goodness. I have 3 trellises behind this veggie box. One for the bougainvillea, one for the Carolina Jasmine, and I was going to plant a vine in the center one, but I'm glad I didn't because the bougainvillea is totally taking over and I think it's awesome. And these arches in my backyard, these are just cattle panels. I have one there and another one right there. And I hang bird seed right in the center. So basically that was one cattle panel, and then I cut it in half and I got 2 out of them. And look at my friends. Look at the beautiful, beautiful sweet potato vine growing out of this vintage bathtub. You can't even see the bathtub right now. It's completely covered. I swear it must grow 2 feet every week. And now it's sending out more shoots. Here's another proven winner, Supertunia Vista Bubblegum, and you see the sweet potato vine is coming out the front. And this is the second time this beautiful petunia is in full bloom. I gave it a severe haircut and it totally came back, and it looks just as beautiful as it did in the spring. Look at more sweet potato vine growing over the lantana. And then also in the vintage bathtub, I have some vinca. These are 2 pepper plants that I'm growing. I just put the pots behind the vintage bathtub just to kind of utilize all the space in my garden. And over here I have 2 Canterbury bells, but I don't think I'm going to get any blooms this year. I'm told they're biennials, which means they make leaves the first year and then they bloom the second year. But I think they're going to bloom so beautiful next year because look how healthy all the greenery is. And this is a yucca, another example of how you can add color to your garden without blooms. That's just green and yellow. And in the pot below is another vinca. I call this area in my garden my iron plant stand. And if you notice, I did take out all the wave petunias. Well, I didn't take them out, I just cut them back. But now you can really notice all the creeping Jenny. And below the creeping Jenny, I have vinca. Another Canterbury bell in that pot with some vinca. You know, I'm not sure I'm gonna grow dahlias next year. They just kind of give me a lot of problems. Out of about 4 dahlias that I planted, this is the only one that's doing well, and it really doesn't bloom a lot for me, and it gets that little bug called leaf hoppers. So I don't know. I don't think dahlias and I get along too well. And this is my little coleus corner. I used to call it my cactus corner, but I have 3 beautiful coleuses I completely took over. So I now call it my coleus corner. In the center is a pink cordyline. But look at my friends, this coleus is only 1 plant. Isn't that crazy? It's one of my favorites. I forget the name. Sorry, I have a bad memory. I'm 62. But it's only 1 plant. Inside this vintage bathtub, I have 3 Supertunia Vista petunias with a bubble gum in the center and 2 jazzberries, 1 on each side. More vinca in these pots. This vine is called a Clematis armandii. It's an evergreen clematis. I'll show you that when it blooms in the spring. And I call this little area my cottage garden. Excuse the buckets. I'm working on a new garden area. This is my bridge garden area, and it's under construction. But as you can see, I did get my colored rocks to make it look like water is streaming down the dry creek. I'm super excited about that, and we'll show you when that's done. This is Freya the farmer with Petunia the pig and Lottie the lamb, thanks to all my viewers who helped me name them. And she's sitting on a bale of hay. Just a fun little area where my grandkids can play and take pictures and all that good stuff. Now we are going to walk past my narrow space vegetable garden that's only 3 feet 4 inches wide, and I'm going to show you what I'm growing out in front of my house. We will walk past my beautiful double delight rose, which is blooming again. Now that we're coming into fall and the weather is changing, everything's starting to look fresh again. And over here is my driveway garden. Yes, my friends, I'm utilizing this space in my driveway. Why not, right? Why not? So as you can see, look how big my cucumbers got. Can you believe that? In last week's garden tour, they were not that big. I really think they grew about 3 feet. And over here I have a moonflower growing up that trellis, a sweet potato, a real sweet potato, one that you can eat, and some okra. And right here growing up is a purple hyacinth bean vine. But look at my strawberries. There's only 4 plants in there, but they've just continued to multiply and double. So what I'm thinking about doing is, instead of cutting these off, because if I stick these in pots, see, look at that, that's a little plant, that will root. So I'm thinking about getting little pots and sticking each dangling strawberry plant in a pot and then makes more strawberry plants. But can you believe this started off originally just 4 plants, and there's even new plants in the back. Unbelievable. This driveway garden, a lot of people would laugh at me. Who cares? Look how good it's doing, right? And there's just 4 cucumber plants. I expect these are probably going to trail out. How fun, right? How fun. All in a driveway. Since we're out in the front of my house, let me quickly show you how pretty my roses are doing now that it's fall, or starting to become fall. I have 2 star jasmine vines growing up that arbor. Well, hello there, Abby. And this is the entrance to the front of my house, which was built in 1930. It's very, very old. Probably the original walkway going into the house. But I wanted to quickly show you that my roses are starting to bloom again. This is Tiffany. They sure did struggle with the summer heat, but it's always good to see fresh new blooms. Now I'm going to take you back to my garden and show you what I use to fertilize everything. The most common question I get on all my videos is, what kind of fertilizer do you use? Well, I use two. One, I use a liquid fertilizer and I fertilize once a week because like the Super Tunia Vista bubblegums, petunias, and all the annuals, during the summertime they are heavy feeders, so they need to be fed once a week. Although I also use a slow release fertilizer once a month. And from what I've learned by watching YouTube videos, just like you, that those synthetic fertilizers like the Miracle-Gro, they don't really feed the soil because they're man-made, but stuff that's organic came from the ground, came from the earth, so it definitely feeds your soil. And another reason why organic is better is because it doesn't burn your plants. I've used the Blue Miracle stuff, and I use too much and it burns the plant. So look at, I just grab a handful and I just throw it. Grab a handful and drop it. Grab a handful and drop it. Grab a handful and drop it. For the roses, maybe I'll use a cup. It's that easy and it doesn't burn the plants. Now let me show you how I mix my water-soluble fertilizer. For the water-soluble fertilizer, the instructions say to add a tablespoon per every gallon. So this watering can holds 2 gallons. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons in. But again, I don't measure it because it's organic. If a little more goes in, it's not a big deal. So 2 tablespoons, I just call it 2 glubs. Glub, glub. That's it. No measuring. And then I just get a spoon and mix it. And I do this once a week. So this is what I use, and this is how I do it because you asked. I hope that helps. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you have a beautiful day in your garden too. Bye.